The women's 200 meters round 1, Heat 2 at the FISU World University Games offered a clear example of how elite sprinting is not just about speed, but about control, precision, and energy management across all phases of the race. At the center of this performance was Italy's Dalia Kaddari, who delivered a run that combined technical efficiency with tactical intelligence, immediately marking herself as one of the most serious contenders in the competition. From the moment the athletes settled into their blocks, there was a visible contrast in composure. Kaddari's pre-race demeanor was calm and focused, reflecting an athlete who understands exactly what is required in a preliminary round. When the gun fired, her start was clean and well-timed. While she is not typically classified among the most explosive starters, her reaction was sharp enough to keep her in immediate contention, avoiding any early deficit that could disrupt her race model. The first 30 meters were defined by controlled acceleration. Rather than forcing maximum output, Kaddari built her speed progressively, ensuring that her transition into upright running was smooth and efficient. This phase is often underestimated, but it is critical in the 200 meters because it sets up the entire curve. Kaddari's posture during this transition remained stable, with minimal vertical oscillation, allowing her to conserve energy while still gaining momentum. As the athletes entered the bend, the race began to separate. The curve is where technical discipline becomes decisive, and Kaddari executed it with near-perfect mechanics. Her body lean was subtle but effective, aligned with the radius of the curve, and her foot placement remained precise, avoiding any braking forces. Her stride frequency was consistent, and more importantly, her stride length gradually increased without compromising rhythm. At this stage, the stagger began to unwind, and Kaddari started closing on the runners in the outer lanes. This was not the result of a sudden surge, but rather the outcome of superior efficiency. Every step was contributing to forward motion, with no visible tension in her upper body. Her arms remained compact, driving in sync with her legs, ensuring balance and propulsion through the bend. In contrast, South Africa's Anastasia Luchandra George showed a more aggressive early phase. Her acceleration into the curve was sharper, and for a brief moment, she appeared to match Kaddari's pace. However, this approach came with a higher energy cost. As the curve progressed, small signs of tightening began to appear. Slight increases in shoulder tension and less fluid arm movement, which ultimately affected her ability to maintain top speed. The transition off the curve is often the most decisive moment in a 200-meter race, and this is where Kaddari's experience and race intelligence became most evident. Instead of attempting a dramatic change of pace, she executed a controlled re-acceleration. Her stride opened up naturally, her cadence remained stable, and her posture stayed relaxed. This allowed her to carry her speed efficiently into the home straight, while others began to struggle with deceleration. Entering the final 100 meters, Kaddari had already established a clear advantage. What stood out most was her composure. There was no visible strain in her face, no disruption in her mechanics. Her head position remained steady, her shoulders relaxed, and her knee lift consistent. This level of relaxation at high speed is a defining characteristic of elite sprinters, as it minimizes energy loss and delays the onset of fatigue. The final 80 meters further emphasized her control. While many athletes begin to tighten and lose efficiency in this phase, Kaddari maintained her form remarkably well. Her ground contact remained quick and elastic, and her stride pattern showed minimal deterioration. This suggests a strong balance between speed endurance and technical stability, both of which are essential for success in later rounds. She crossed the finish line in 23.36 seconds, a time that, while not explosive on paper, carries significant context. This was not a maximal effort. It was a calculated performance designed to secure qualification with minimal energy expenditure. The ability to dominate a heat without reaching full intensity is often what separates medal contenders from the rest of the field. Anastasia Luchandra. George followed in second place with 23.94, delivering a solid performance that highlighted her strengths in the acceleration phase. However, the gap between her and Kaddari underscored the importance of efficiency and race distribution. While George showed competitiveness, particularly in the early stages, she was unable to match the sustained control and finishing strength demonstrated by the Italian sprinter. From a broader perspective, this heat was less about competition and more about establishing hierarchy. Kaddari didn't just win, she dictated the race. Every phase, from the start to the finish, was executed with clarity and purpose. There were no unnecessary movements, no signs of panic, and no wasted energy. Looking ahead, the implications of this performance are significant. Kaddari has shown that she possesses not only the physical tools, but also the tactical awareness required to navigate multiple rounds in a major competition. Her ability to adjust intensity, maintain technical consistency, and remain composed under race conditions positions her as a leading candidate for the later stages. The key question now is how much more she has in reserve. Preliminary rounds often reveal only a fraction of an athlete's true capacity. If Kaddari can elevate her output while maintaining the same level of efficiency, her performance ceiling could be considerably higher. In summary, this race served as a controlled demonstration of elite sprinting fundamentals. Dalia Kaddari combined precision, discipline, and intelligence to deliver a performance that was both effective and economical. It was not about spectacle, it was about execution. And if this level of execution continues, she will not only progress through the rounds, but potentially define the outcome of the event. In addition, what makes Dalia Kaddari particularly dangerous in a championship setting is her ability to adapt her race model depending on the round. This heat showed a version of Kaddari that was calculated and controlled, but history suggests she is capable of significantly increasing both her early aggression and top-end speed when required. That flexibility is critical in a multi-round competition, where each race demands a slightly different approach. Another key factor is her biomechanical efficiency under fatigue. Even in this controlled effort, the final meters provided insight into her sprint endurance. While many athletes begin to show visible deceleration patterns, shortening stride length or increasing ground contact time, Kaddari maintained a consistent rhythm. This indicates not only strong physical conditioning, but also highly refined neuromuscular coordination, allowing her to preserve technique when it matters most. From a tactical standpoint, her awareness of positioning was also evident. Running from lane 3 can be challenging, as it limits visual reference points compared to outer lanes. However, Kaddari appeared fully in tune with her surroundings, judging the stagger unwind perfectly without needing to overcommit early. This kind of spatial awareness is often overlooked, but it plays a crucial role in executing an optimal race. Looking toward the semifinals and final, the level of competition will inevitably rise, particularly from athletes who may have held back even more in their respective heats. The question will not only be about speed, but about who can best manage rounds, recover efficiently, and deliver under increasing pressure. Based on this performance, Kaddari has already demonstrated that she understands these demands at a high level. If she can combine this composure with a more aggressive execution in the later stages, particularly in the transition phase off the curve, she has the potential to produce a time well below what was seen in this opening round. And in a field where margins are often decided by hundredths of a second, that controlled reserve may ultimately become her greatest advantage.